Welcome back to From Trash to Treasure, where unwanted items are given a second chance and turned into something spectacular. I'm the host, and today we have a real doozy for you. Have a look at this. Is that a fridge or is that a wine fridge? Well, today we take this old broken down fridge and turn it into an upmarket wine fridge, complete with electronic temperature controls, lighting, and everything else you need to keep your finest bottles of Plonk in tip-top condition. So let's get started. So let's start off by taking a closer look at our somewhat dubious-looking subject. And I say dubious because who knows what's inside this thing. It definitely needs a clean out and a repaint, but does it need more than that? Well, let's find out. After a few whacks with the hammer, I managed to break the seal on this beast. I then opened the door and took out all the shelves. What a stinky mess. The musty smell of aged leftovers filled the air. That's not a good sign, but hey, no pests, which is already a win. And while doing a quick once-over of the interior, it was clear that there was going to be quite a bit of rust removal required. If this was going to be transformed into a wine fridge, and speaking of wine, what better way to remove rust than with a bottle of wine vinegar? Now I'll tell you what's really interesting about this fridge. Exterior and the door were made from steel, but the actual inner part was made from plastic. Nowadays, hardly any fridges are made like this. They're either all steel or all plastic. And this one seems to be from the 60s or 70s, maybe even earlier. I mean, look how cool this knob is. Do you know what? This thing has character. And this is the type of fridge that your grandparents might have had back in the day when electricity was still a new thing. Anyways, let's see if this old girl can be saved. With a little elbow grease, I was able to remove most of the rust and left it looking almost brand new. Wow, as an extra precaution, I also applied some rust converter to be sure that the rust wouldn't come back. The door was none too bad either and only needed a light sanding followed by some vinegar and a wipe down. With that done, it was time to give this fridge a fresh coat of paint. So I put on a safety mask and got to work. Several coats later and we got ourselves a shiny new looking fridge. Well, not so fast. We've still got to fix the shelves. Once again, the surface of the shelves weren't too bad, just a little grimy and in need of a good clean. However, the edges were pretty rough and rusty, so I used some sandpaper to smooth them out before giving them a coat of paint. While they dried, I sanded the edges of the door and applied some paint there too. Now that everything was looking fresh and clean, it was time to bring this project to life and turn it into a swanky wine fridge. Before doing anything though, I removed the door hinges to make it easier to work on. I haven't actually ever taken apart a fridge before. Do you think it's difficult to work on? So far it's been pretty easy, but let's find out. I simply unscrewed it. Next, I removed the cooling unit. I was very careful here as I didn't want to damage the copper pipes, so then I removed the evaporator fan and its cover. This is basically the part that blows cold air around the fridge. I also removed the evaporator, which is the part that actually freezes the liquid inside the fridge. Now with all that out of the way, I took out the baskets. These were actually pretty useful. It would be perfect for storing cheese and other goodies. And lastly, I took out the compressor, which is the part that keeps the entire system nice and cool. Now that everything was out of the way, I could finally start installing the new features. The first thing I did was install a drain hole. This is important because moisture will still accumulate inside the fridge, even if you're not storing food or drinks in it. And this will allow it to escape without causing any problems. I then installed a digital temperature controller. You can set the temperature to exactly how you want it, no more guessing. I then installed a power switch for the new LED lights. Speaking of lights, I installed 2 warm white LEDs and 2 UV LEDs. The warm white LEDs will provide a nice ambient light so you can easily see your wine collection. Meanwhile, the UV light will kill any bacteria that might be growing inside the fridge, keeping your food and wine safe. Next up, it was time to install the fans. These will ensure that the air inside the fridge is evenly chilled. This is important because you do and want one side of the fridge to be cold and the other side to be warm. Finally, it was time to install the compressors. I secured them in place and screwed them in. Then I connected the wires to the digital controller. This part was a little tricky because I didn't want the wires to be visible. I wanted them to be hidden away neatly. Luckily, I was able to tuck them away behind the evaporator. With the digital controller hooked up, I connected the wires for the lights. This part was easy peasy. I then secured the cooling unit and screwed it back in place. I also installed the evaporator and its cover. And finally, I screwed the back panel back on. I then plugged in the fridge and turned it on. I set the temperature to 5 degrees Celsius, which is the ideal temperature for storing wine. Then, I closed the door and waited for the fridge to cool down. While I waited, I worked on the shelves. I cut them down to size and sanded them to give them a smooth finish. I then stained them and sealed them with polyurethane. This will help to protect them from moisture and make them look nice and shiny. Once the shelves were finished, I installed them inside the fridge. I also installed the baskets, which would be perfect for storing smaller items like cheese and other goodies. I then installed the door and attached the new handle. With everything installed, it was time to see if the fridge was working properly. And let me tell you, it was ice cold. I mean, look how frosty it is. I let the fridge run for a few hours to be sure that it was working properly, and then I added some wine. And let me tell you, the wine looked amazing inside the fridge. The UV light made it look like it was glowing. It really was a sight to behold. I then added some more bottles of wine and arranged them on the shelves. It was so much fun to do this. I mean, who doesn't love wine? And let me tell you, this wine fridge is the perfect place to store them. The temperature is perfect, and the UV light will keep them safe. Not to mention it looks amazing. I mean, look how beautiful it is. The wood and the metal just go together like peanut butter and jelly. And that, my friends, is the finished product. A beautiful wine fridge made from an old junk fridge. I am so happy with how this project turned out. I mean, look at the before and after. It's like night and day. Let me tell you, this wine fridge is not only beautiful, but it's also functional. The temperature is perfect, and the UV light will keep the wine safe. Plus, it's also energy efficient, which is always a bonus. Anyways, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of From Trash to Treasure. If you did, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and hit subscribe. We've got lots of exciting projects coming up, and you don't want to miss a single one. Till next time, my friends, stay creative and keep on reimagining. Bye. Welcome back to From Trash to Treasure, where ordinary people like you and me take ordinary items that are unwanted and unloved and turn them into something extraordinary, something we love and can even sell for profit. I'm your host, and today I have a super exciting episode for you. Stay tuned till the end because this piece was totally trashed. It was left out in the rain and I cut and wait to show you what we did with it. But first, let me introduce you to today's flipper, who has been following us for some time now and is finally ready to take the plunge and flip their very first item. So let's meet Emma. Hi everyone. I am a teacher from Newcastle in the UK. I have always loved watching YouTube videos about restoring furniture and transforming items. And after seeing all of your amazing makes on From Trash to Treasure, I decided it was finally time to give it a go myself. And here's my upcycle. Oh my goodness, Emma, this is incredible. You took something that looked like it was destined for the landfill and made it look like it just came from an exclusive furniture store. Tell me the before story of this beauty. So I saw this table at a local car boot sale for £3. The lady had found it in her late father's garage. He had left it out in the rain for years, hence the water damage, and it had been covered in dust. I thought it would be a great project to try upcycling for the first time, especially since I had watched every single episode of From Trash to Treasure. My dad loves anything American, and he's always wanted a pool table. I thought this would be a really fun surprise for him. I am so happy you chose to watch From Trash to Treasure as part of your flipping journey, because this is the type of creativity and problem solving that happens when someone watches these shows. This entire table was soaked through and through, wasn't it? Yes, it was soaking wet. The top of the table was completely water damaged, and there were parts of the wood missing from the corners. So what was the process behind bringing this old pool table back to life? Well, the first thing I did was sand down the surface of the table until I had removed all of the varnish and paint. I stained the wood with a black walnut stain. I needed to do several coats, and each coat needed to dry for 3 days. Once it had dried, I applied for coats of satin clear lacquer. For the legs, I bought some cheap hairpin legs off of eBay. I painted them black and screwed them to the bottom of the table. I wanted to make the table look more modern and unique, so I gave the edge of the table a chamfer. You know, Emma? I love how you took an old dated piece and brought it into the modern age with those snazzy black steel hairpin legs. This table looks so good. It's looking so good right now. Can you do a close-up, please? Please do a close-up. We need to see the detail of the wood grain coming through that rich, dark stain. That's gorgeous. And remember, lighting is everything. Show us how this baby shines. Give us some light. Light it up. There she is. Gorgeous. Okay, you said you chamfered the edge of the table? Explain that to us for those of us who don't know what that means. A chamfer is basically when you take the corner of a board, or in my case a table, and you cut it at an angle so it is no longer a sharp corner, but it is kind of rounded over. It gives it a softer look. I also bought some D-shaped handles from Amazon and screwed them onto the drawer. To finish it off, I added some brass furniture feet to the bottom of the hairpin legs. Emma, this looks so professional. It looks like you went to a design school, or maybe you've been doing this forever. How long did this project take you? The whole project took me around 2 weeks, which included the drying time of the stain and lacquer. That is impressive. 2 weeks including the drying time, otherwise it probably took you a weekend, didn't it? Yes, exactly. I spent every evening after work and all day Saturday and Sunday on it. Well, it sounds like it was worth it, because the look on your dad's face when you gave this to him was priceless. He was so surprised. He kept saying it was the best surprise ever, and he couldn't believe that I had done it myself. He was also very proud of how I had upcycled it instead of throwing it away. Well, I bet he was. What an incredible and thoughtful gift for Father's Day. Thank you for sharing this wonderful story and amazing transformation with us. You've got a natural talent for this, my friend. Don't stop with this first flip. Go on and do more. And if you ever want to make some money from your amazing skills, why not sell it online? You never know who you might reach. Plus, I love showing off your talent to the world. So keep creating, my friend, and keep sharing your talent with us. Congratulations on such an amazing first flip. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to see more like it, then hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new episodes. While you're at it, give this video a thumbs up too. Let me know in the comments below what piece of trash you'd like to see get the from trash to treasure treatment. And if you have an amazing flip to share, send us an email at the provided address. We might feature it on the show. It is time for a brand new challenge, and that means it is time for a brand new host. Welcome, everyone. I'm your new host. I'm so excited to be joining this amazing community and to continue bringing you creative transformations. And if you have an amazing flip to share, send us an email at the provided address. We might feature it on the show. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll join me and the gang next time when we take on another exciting, fun-filled, nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat episode. That's right. Who said flipping trash into treasure isn't exciting? Here on From Trash to Treasure, we prove that it is. We'll see you soon.